I knew this would happen. I knew it. And I could tell it from day one. Okay, and to be honest, it was kind of obvious. Alright. But, ladies and gentlemen, you might be thinking to yourself, Scotty, what on earth are you relating to? That's what we'll be uncovering in today's video. So, hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another video here on the Scotty Gamer channel. I want to thank you all so much on the support on this channel these last few weeks. It's been absolutely amazing and absolutely class. So thank you so much, and the road to 100 subs is well and truly on. But lads, listen, this video here concerns all the Liverpool fans, right? And don't get your knickers in a twist, because you finally come to realise what I've known since day one. Okay? Day one. Right? And I'm gonna say this right here. Clip this up. Arne Slot. Arne Slot is an overrated manager who has no competence of the game. Zero. Okay? But the most common defense being thrown around is, oh, Scotty, he won the league. Honestly, that's why I dislike him even more, and that's why I find him extremely overrated. Klopp built that team. Are you guys forgetting, right, that Klopp had to spend, the summer before he left buying Soboslai, McAllister, and Gravenberch, right? Before that, he was stuck with Henderson, Fabinho, and Genie Wijnaldum, But he rebuilt that team, and then he retired. Arne Slot came in, and honestly, it was obvious that they were going to win the league. You could have put a monkey into, into that Liverpool head coach role, and they would have won the league, especially in the form Salah was in, right? But Arne Slot has no idea how to build a team, right? No idea. He won the league because Klopp built the team for him. It was basically an autopilot, right? So that's why I find him extremely overrated, right? And you may be thinking to yourself, oh, Scotty, he built a team in the Netherlands. He won the league and the cup with Feyenoord. The Eredivisie is not the Premier League, respectfully. So, pack it up and admit it, right? So, pack it up and admit it, as I say. Arne Slot is just overrated. And to see my further opinion on Arne Slot, watch this video, alright? Because I'm gonna uncover the truth about Arne Slot and Liverpool's current situation. Okay? So, right? Basically, as I say, you could have put a monkey in charge of that Liverpool Football Club and they would have won the league, right? Arne Slot spent nothing, the summer he came in. Nothing. Because the team was already built. And he won the league with ease, alright? So, then, of course, as I say, Klopp retires, right? And he actually now taken charge of Liverpool, alright? Expectations are high. And pressure, at the same time, is very high, right? From the fans, from the media, from the owners, from Edwards and from the other guy, okay? Who I can't think of his name right now, sorry. But, you know, he set out and spent £500 million on signings, right? £500 million, right? With their best signing being, if you will, not necessarily accidental, but they had no intentions of getting him. They only wanted to play with Newcastle, right? So, yeah, they spend all this money, right? They spend all this money, and of course, expectations are high, as I say, because they won the league, because they splashed money out on a lot of world-class potential. At the same time, there was also a lot of confusion because Liverpool are usually not that club. Liverpool are usually guys who find the talent and build it, right? But Arne Slot tried a different approach, right? And people are excited for it. People are excited. Because they were like, okay, new manager, he's ambitious, he's spending money. Great. But I could see, and I could feel, and I knew that at some point, it was all going to go wrong. It was all going to go wrong. Because, let me give you a prime example, right? Let me give you a prime example. Galacticos, okay? 2003, 2004. Real Madrid, signed David Beckham in the summer of 2003, right? So, the team was as follows. Casillas, Cannavaro, Kaká, Zidane, Ronaldo Fenomeno, David Beckham, Luis Figo. Okay? And I could go on and on. Okay? Right? And you think to yourself, Jesus Christ, that team is unstoppable. Listen, if you guys know ball, right? I'm going to ask you this. How much did that Real Madrid team win in that 4-year period, right? Or, I think it was 3 or 4 years they played together. How much did Real Madrid win in that period? 1 league title. One single league title. Nothing else. Nothing. Nada. Okay? The reason being that there are too many egos, or there were too many egos in the dressing room at the time, right? And too many big stars, and too much pressure on everybody, because within signing all these individually great players, for the price tags they did, no matter if now or then, the pressure builds up from all parties concerned, right? They expect you to win. The thing is, what people don't get is having individual brilliance doesn't guarantee you a team's success, right? We saw it, as I say, with the Galacticos. We saw it with Mbappe, Messi and Neymar, right? We thought they were going to tear up the Champions League, Messi, Neymar and Mbappe, but they didn't. They flew out in the round of 16 Because, as I say, too many egos, right? The thing is, with individually great players, with the previous attention they had on them, right? With the previous attention they had on them, they've, as I said, developed an ego. And, when egos clash, it doesn't work. And individual players that are brilliant can just not play together. And this is a fact. This is an absolute fact, right? So what I'm basically trying to say is, before or the season Arne Slot won the league, which was last year, right? Team was perfectly balanced. Everybody was playing for each other. Everybody was, fighting for the ball. Mo Salah had an absolute masterclass, right? Of a season. Then they go out and splash the cash, right? So you bring people in like Alexander Isak, who has an ego, respectfully. Listen, I'm not saying ego is something bad, however, after a while, fame gets to your head, right? So, Alexander Isak had an ego, Flor Wirtz had an ego. And how do these egos come to happen? Through media attention, right? Which Isak got because he was class at Newcastle, because he, went on strike, refused to train, etc. Why did Florian Wirtz have a big-ish ego? Because the Germans were hyping him up, and Liverpool bought him for 150 mil, right? Then we've got Ekitike, which is the only guy who is basically playing for the team, the other guys have an extremely big ego, respectfully. And of course you need time to build a team, of course you do. But I'm saying this is down to the manager, because if he has managerial competence at all, he would have seen that too many egos don't go together very well, And this, as I say, he would have seen that too many egos don't go together very well, right? And this is not just, a fan thing. This is fact, right? And this is analysis, and this is stuff we have seen over the years come true, right? So don't go over the top, because pressure will be on you, and then when you under-deliver, which Arne Slot has in this regard, and Liverpool have in this regard, you will crumble, and pressure is, you're going to collapse at some point. I mean, look, I'm not saying it's entirely the players' fault, right? And I'm not saying the players are entirely blameless, of course, but all I'm saying is Arne Slot is incompetent, overrated, and out of his depth, because we had the same situation with Erik ten Hag. The guy cannot control egos. The guy cannot manage egos, alright? He's relying on individual brilliance to win him games, right? And again, we saw it with PSG, we saw it with Madrid in 03-04. It doesn't always work. You may peak shortly, but in the long term, it doesn't work. Look, all I'm saying is that the board and the executives of Liverpool Football Club have to sack this man at some point to bring the football club forward. I know it's harsh, and I know he won the league, but it's the truth. because he is managerially incompetent in some aspects, right? And there is just no tactical master plan there. And as I say, well, it shouldn't be a master plan, but at least a tactical plan. He looks as clueless as Ruben Amorim, and that's why I'm saying he, he needs to rely on individual brilliance to win him games. And as I said, that's not always gonna work, okay? So, again, in my opinion, Arne Slot is overrated. His league title that he won is overrated. And, people need to start talking about the true Arne Slot, okay? So, as I say, I'm not a big fan of him, and he is just out of his depth. But ladies and gentlemen, that will be it for today's video. If you enjoyed the content, don't forget to leave a like on the channel, subscribe to my channel as well, and turn on the post notifications so you don't miss any future videos. Okay, the post notification looks like a little bell, alright? Looks like a little bell. And also hype up the video because it would be all greatly appreciated and would help with the growth of my channel, alright? So yeah, let me know what you guys think about this take down below, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.